Hi, this is Arun from arunsyoga.in. I'm a software engineer who mostly work with Node.js, PHP, and other backend technologies. And I'm an open source contributor as well. I'm a tantric by birth in a family which is passing tantric wisdom from generations to generations from past 2000 years of legacy, and got lucky to travel across India and got chances to study under various gurus from different backgrounds and disciplines. You could connect with me in arunsyoga.in. Here I'm helping you to design a divine lifestyle which is based on Vedic astrology, tantra, and other yogic system of understanding. In this podcast, I'm reading the chart of Daniela. She lives in California. I met this wonderful woman in Thiruvannamalai, where we were dancing and singing and praying for the blessings of Arunachala Shiva. She travels the world with a hula hoop and empower local community by sharing her wisdom and performing art, and slowly getting melted as dance. In this podcast, we are talking about how the cultural exchange is possible and what is that lacking in Indian mind and what is that lacking in Western mind and how we could fill the gaps. And of course, her chat as well. She also has agreed to help me to record the Soundarya Lahari, the classical textbook of Tantra, which is being written by Shree Shankaracharya as an honor to divine feminine, sitting as a Mount Himalaya for every tantric aspirant who want to become a living god or goddesses. The Tantra Vidya, or the knowledge of the divine feminine, seems like a very confusing term altogether. Neo Tantrics are marked the Tantra as a tool of sexual liberation alone and missing to touch other aspects of Tantra. Whereas in India, tantrics are seen as a group of black magicians who worships Kali and lives in graveyard and do all the kinds of kink under the name of spirituality. And and most of the techniques are caught under the dogma of Orthodox Hindutva. Under this circumstance, audio documentation of a textbook, something like Soundarya Lahari, is very important for both West and East. And I'm really appreciating Daniela's openness towards this direction. We will be soon start to release the episodes of the same as audio format. Stay tuned for the same. Let me pray for the blessings of all great, loving, and kind peoples of Ramana Arunachala. And here we are beginning our Vedic chat reading series, episode number 3. So, yeah, Daniela, this is Arun,
Hello.
and I saw you in Thiruvannamalai and you shared a terrible story of you. Like you spent you took a flight from your country and went to China. Then you spent a lot of time over there. Then you came to India, and that is what is that which attracted you so much in India, where you have to spend a lot of energy and time, and you basically have to stake your own self into something which you believe which worked for you. What was that?
Yes, it was nice to meet you in Tiru. And the first time I came to India was many years ago, and it was for a purpose. And this winter, I went to California to be with my 97-year-old grandfather, and that was my purpose of going there. And he told me, you don't need to be here with me this whole time. So, given that opening of opportunity and of freedom, I tuned into myself and said, where do I need to be? If I came to California to be with my grandfather and he doesn't need me here, And India spoke clearly to me and said, you're not done here. So I looked, and I found a really a very good route of least resistance that did go from Los Angeles with a layover in China, layover in Singapore, and then landed at the southern point of India. So I landed with the intention of listening with an open heart and allowing the fluidity of divinity to move through me and guide me in a, a journey through India. I had a one-way ticket and I had an open itinerary. So that's why I went.
Yeah.
And I did not know I'd be going to Tiru when I landed in January. So I'm grateful.
So Thiru was very amazing for you. Did you felt okay? Let me ask you, like, what did you felt in Thiru? Like, did you happy with the experience you got in Thiru, and did you got what you were expected to? I mean, there is no expectation in life as together. As we all know, we can't expect anything, because if we expect something in life, it is generally isn't not a true and purposeful life, because we can't expect anything in life. So, but anyway, did you got what you were actually want to flow through you, or did it flowed through you? What was it?
Yeah. So I had read a book. A book was gifted to me in December that had a picture of Arunachala in it. And the day that I read the page with the picture of the mountain on it, one of my friends from America that was in Tiru posted it online, a picture of the mountain, like this, as I was reading the page in the book. So as I read that book, I felt like that page was extra impactful because of the synchronicity of my friend that had posted a picture that day. She's a photographer. So um, when I landed in India, I didn't know that I'd go to Tiru. My thought was honestly that I would go, and I told my family that I was going to take a train on the west coast um, from Kerala up to Goa. I didn't go to Goa. I ended up going to Kerala and then Tiru. The opportunity presented itself, and it expanded me when I thought about it. So I said yes, and I went to Tiru, and I arrived the evening before Amma's program. So I attended Amma's program and hugged Amma and contributed to that energy, and met a lot of really incredible people and volunteered serving chai to thousands of people, which was like, that was like my arrival in Tiru, was just to show up in service and serve thousands and thousands of cups of chai tea over hours and hours and hours, which was extremely potent experience. So, I mean, within the first 24 hours of being in Tiru, I was satisfied. I mean, I wasn't going looking for anything, but it immediately provided this really potent experience. And then, I mean, I could talk for hours about the different things that transpired being in Tiru, but that first day, yeah, going directly from that program into town, and then I hiked the mountain right away. I went dropped myself and somebody that I had just met off right in front of Ramana Ashram, and we hiked up to the top of the mountain, and my shoes broke. I threw them away, like, I don't need these, that kind of, it was just like an immediate arrival. And yeah, I I didn't know how long I'd stay because, again, my itinerary for India in general was all a one-way ticket. It was all very open. And I felt very strongly once I got there to stay through the full moon. So I did stay through the full moon and, um, walked with the community around the mountain. So I'm grateful for doing that. Because I did stay longer, I was able to meet you. So that was really nice too. Yeah.
And so, what was the, you know, you are working on something to do with cultural exchange, where peoples are from different background, and you are trying to bring out the differences and trying to join them together and see what would be the outcome of this particular project. I would like to say it is a project of cultural exchange. What would be the particular outcome of the project? Did you felt that there something could be improved from India or the peoples over the India and or peoples from the West people, they can improve something or something can be done like that? What is your view on this? And how do you, what would be your idea about this and how do you see this?
Okay. Well, I heard you say that there's this cultural exchange, and that is very much how I travel. As an American, I do have the ability to like go on vacation, right? And go someplace and stay at a nice hotel and like do the like this concept of going on a vacation. But that's not how I resonate. Instead, it's this idea that if I'm going to a foreign country, like I don't want to be an American on vacation. I would like to show up as an American that is open to learning about the culture that I'm experiencing. So I do my best to uh, immerse in local environment, immerse in local housing and local activities, and show up in service. So that is something that is a lot of interest as far as a project would be concerned, would be figuring out ways that like how can people who are showing up from foreign countries help provide energy and time and energy and ideas to the local community. Like how can we work together to create something impactful in the time that we have together that is just natural. There's 7 billion people on the planet, so when we come together traveling naturally in this synchronistic moment of time, it's I don't want to be considered like a tourist or a foreigner. Instead, it's like how can we come together and amplify the just human connection that comes from being at the same place at the same time, and how can we generate a common purpose. So that's something I think about a lot as far as like how can I show up with resources that I have from my culture to share with the culture that I'm in, and can that be done ahead of time or does it have to be in the moment? And up to now, it's really just been in the moment to allow for that divine fluidity. And I do see a benefit that if we had some pre-conversation and intention setting using this like digital platform to prepare for people to come together and like create guidance, it would help focus the potential. So, I mean, that would definitely be something, I look forward to once the borders open again.
So basically, what kind of resource which you have that you are thinking which is lacking in other culture? For instance, the culture you could see in a place like Thiruvannamalai. In that place you are coming and you are thinking, or maybe you are having some resources, and where do you see those resources to fit in, or what kind of resources which you are having at this particular point of time? What
Sure.
can you see?
Well, the most immediate thing is perspective. We all have our unique perspectives from the area of the world that we were raised in, and so, I think it's potent to be able to sit in community and talk about different ideas and share people's different perspectives, because I learned so much when I travel from the communities that I'm from the cultures that I'm experiencing. It's provided me such a depth of understanding of the world, and so when I travel, I do my best to offer that back and to share knowledge that I have in a unique perspective. And as a movement artist, I know the potency of empowerment that comes through activating our body and activating our mindset. And so I often I travel with hula hoops, and it's kind of confusing for some people that are like, what are those, right? But that gives me the opportunity to say, oh, these are, and then share that knowledge and share that perspective of what some people look at as like a kid's toy, and I've experienced it as an adult transformational tool. So to many of the countries that I've traveled to, I've shown up with either completed hula hoops or raw tubing, and then taught the local communities how to make their own hula hoops. So it's more important for me to leave them with the knowledge of how to make it than necessarily give them like these things that I made in America. So like being in India and being in Tiru specifically, I found this bit of a challenge where I wanted to find the local materials so that I could empower the local community, not only to know how to maneuver a hoop, a circle, and use it for meditation and for focus and for activation and play and all of these things for individual and group experiences. But I started a search for this irrigation tubing, and I went to a lot of different little shops looking for the right type of tubing, and I brought connector pieces from America in case I couldn't find those, and gifted them to some people that were locals. So yeah, sharing ideas, sharing materials, sharing goods, investing in investing in people, like people that are impactful to me. Like I want to support what they're doing, right? So like that's why I'm here with you. Like I saw your flyer, and then I met you independent of the flyer, and it was one of those moments where like you handed me this flyer and I was like, wait a second, I took a picture of this on my phone. Of course we're supposed to meet, right? Those synchronicities, if we're watching, if we're noticing and observing, they're so bright and clear. So yeah, I'm grateful again.
So when you went back from Tiru, uh, did you what what is that you took back from India to US? What is that?
Well, from Tiru, I was invited to Rishikesh, and I initially said no, I'm going to Goa, and then somebody on the street that literally I was not talking to, I had no interaction with, like nothing, stops and looks at me and says, "Hey, I'll see you in Rishikesh." And I looked to my friend who had just been inviting me, and I just laughed, like, only in India does this type of moment like unfold, right? So in general, this specific trip was very, very fluid, and I just listened because I had, my vessel was so open. I allowed for everything that needed to come in and come through the space to do so. And because of that, it just affirmed to me the playfulness, you know, the, like the lila and like the maya um, of life. I I really I returned back to the U.S. with a much greater understanding of the divinity that is within every person on the planet, for sure. And just the whole, I mean, I literally went from the southern tip all the way to like into the Himalayas, and then the moment that my intuition said your grandfather needs you, like now, like you need to go to him now, I booked a flight back to the US, and um, I arrived to him like 2 days before the borders closed. So, you know, it was just one of these things where by listening and being open to energy to move through and guide me, it provided the most potent experience. And it it felt very different than the first time I went to India, where I went like to learn something. This time I just went to be present and to be guided. And I came home with much more quality understanding that will be with me forever. Yeah.
So if somebody want to go to India from the from the culture which you grew up, and somebody want to go to a culture which like India, like you could see other culture in Kerala, you could see some other culture in Rishikesh, you could see some other culture in Goa, you could see some other culture in Northeast, you could see some other culture in middle of India like Karnataka. So somebody who is coming to India, what would you say for them?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the first time I came to India, I went to a yoga teacher training in Goa, and that was it. And then I left. You know, I came in and then I learned some things and then I left. And so to the Americans that are coming to India for a purpose like that, and they're coming to do a training, or they're coming for a, like one thing and then they leave, it's like, whoa. Take the time, like, to be present with the full country. You know, like going this time, I had such an expanded understanding that, wait a second, the the languages that are spoken in this region are not understood by this region, because the language, you know, I didn't understand the depth of culture within India. And by being with locals in Tiru that spoke the amount of languages that were being spoken in a conversation, you know, just were astonishing. And to to understand how much culture there was in each specific region, and how many regions there were, was something that didn't fully sink in until I truly went through the country, from bottom to top. And I mean, in the United States, we have all these, you know, we have 50 different states, and each state is definitely different, but it's not unique to the degree of speaking its own language on top of the national language, on top, it's just the diversity in India is so much stronger than the diversity in America. So I would encourage Americans that are going to India to go to more than just one location so that they can understand more of what makes India India. It's like I want to use my hands and start like reform dancing. It's just, there's sometimes words don't give it the full expression, but yeah, this integration of human experience that is so beautiful. Yeah.
Would you like to come back to India?
Yeah.
And
Waiting, and the borders are closed, right? I think they give us a 10-year visa for a reason. They're like, oh, we know they'll be back.
So if you're coming again to India, this is the third time. For instance, if you're coming again to India, this is the third time. So this is, you are no more a virgin again, So you know what is that happening, what is going on. And would you rather be prepared, or would you allow yourself to flow in whatever the life is up?
That's a good question. I think, so yes, when I return to India the next time, it will be my third return. And it would be, I think, a bit foolish for me to say, I know it's going to happen this time because I'm prepared. The thing that India is teaching me is that, how I'm learning how little we know, right? There's just this, it's like the Maya was so strong. Being in India the second time is, this is all an illusion. Like, to go to India my third time will be its own unique experience. And I just, like, all of the little muscles in my face, in like my cheeks, and like all my smile muscles become activated when I think about my third entry into India, because I like literally want to like spontaneously giggle for 10 minutes just thinking about what she could possibly be sharing. Like the potency of India is so undescribable. But right now, if I were to give an educated guess, the thing that in the first, like going to India the first time was really to study yoga. And so in between the first and second time of going, I was practicing yoga like very regularly. And so I kind of had this thought that I'd go the second time and yoga would be a potent part of the experience. And no, it led into so many other things that were expanded in other aspects of yoga, oh, look at that. We can talk longer. That's nice. See, there's all these surprises. You never really know what's going to happen. All I can say is that right now I feel like, I'm learning more and more about other specific things that I would say, oh, I'm going to learn more about that when I go back to India, but who knows what's going to happen. I just know that I'm going to go with the intention of connection and openness, because I know the power of showing up with an open heart. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen the third time. But I do want to come back in service and give back and articulate ways to contribute to the global experience. So ways that I can do that, I don't know yet. This is part of the conversation.
More teas.
Right?
More teas.
Yeah.
Okay. The one of the very important question which I am also very curious of this the spiritual aspect of India is the Western countries are taking it in its own depth, or how do they feel like in India, we've been taught like from very young age, we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are not the consciousness, we are beyond, much beyond that. This is how the experience which we get from our home from very young age, and this is what we used to grow up with, and we don't have an idea there is some god sitting on the sky. He is taking attendance. Arun is doing this much of sin. Arun is doing this much of a good deed. Uh, and basically, we live and we want to die uh, in moksha. I mean, the reincarnation. So, in a Western mind, how does it goes, and what do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of what you just shared is what was shared with me the first time I went to India. And it was not something that was shared as a young school child. And so, it resonates so strongly. It's like we're, you know, clearly not the body if we're making observations about it. It's so logical to really think about it. Yet in the Western culture, like you said, it's not the normal mainstream thought process. It's not what's shared, to young kids. So there is a very different, cultural understanding, and because of that, it feels extra important for me to want to show up in foreign countries so that I can understand that, this little expression of what was shared with me growing up is different than what was shared with other people in other parts of the world. So I feel like there's this internal responsibility to expand beyond the shell in which I was born, because obviously I was born in the location that I was born, to the family I was born in, for a purpose. As part of my karma, I understand that there's also, like, in me, this desire and drive to experience Earth. Yeah. And not just, oh, I came from this, region surrounded by beautiful freshwater lakes. This is, and I should just stay in this one spot forever. Like, I was born in Michigan in the United States, with the ability to make the decision to explore and experience the entire Earth. And through that exploration, unfold my understanding to observe that, yes, I am not the body. That's very clear. So, seeing that, like, children in other countries are offered this understanding and these opportunities for moksha and for liberation, and all of this is just, I find it beautiful, and it's the fact that they're born into that experience. We're just at different places in our individual journeys, right? And so we all have a purpose for being born where we were born. And I do see the ability to create bridges, from cultures to cultures, and that helps contribute to the global evolution. Because if we go back, 100 years, something like what we're doing right now, it's sunshine, daylight here, and it's evening where you are, because we're talking across time and space, location independent, time independent. It just feels very quantum that we're able to just, like, we want to have a conversation. Okay, no problem. Like, let's have a conversation. It doesn't matter where in the world we are. So creating these bridges, these energetic bridges, and allowing cultures to immediately experience another culture and not have to like wait until another lifetime where we're on another continent or something like this, is potent. So, and not every American has the interest to go to a foreign country or experience something in a different way. Just as I'm sure, there are people in India that are like, I don't want to talk to a tourist, but I don't want to be a tourist. That's the thing. We're trying to create this bridge of how can we be humans interacting with humans, sharing at a like a core level, and really connecting beyond the physical body, because like you said, there are these layers. Yeah, so it just comes down to
So,
this.
so basically, one of my understanding is like I could see you on the computer screen, and when we speak, I can feel you, and
Yeah.
this feeling is comes from my senses. You know, we get a kind of connection, and we get a kind of understanding and a kind of openness towards each other. How it comes out from the senses which we have. The senses will understand, uh, okay, this is Daniela, okay, she's like this, and my eyes will give an impression on you. Oh, looks good, she is white, and yeah, she has a long hair and sort of stuff, and even she has big glasses on her eyes and her face. um, so this will basically gives an understanding. So what I think is like, what is my understanding is like we should teach these senses what to see. You know what I mean? So then we can go beyond the senses. So this is one of the important aspect which meditations and other things are offering. But winning over the senses doesn't make any sense. I mean, any sense at all. It's an irony also.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you completely that, by looking and using the digital platforms to have video calls, we are able to create like instant connection with people where we can truly feel each other. And the the global atmosphere this year of not being able to be in physical proximity to family and friends and community, like we normally would, it has really promoted this quantum jump into the evolution of understanding of energetics. And what I mean by that is, although a lot of us are physically isolated right now, we are becoming exponentially energetically connected because of all of the platforms and opportunities for digital interaction. And what I know I've experienced is that it doesn't matter if we're on a different continent, we have the ability to be fully present energetically together whenever we want to be, right? And that goes for like having a mutual meeting where we're here at the same time, meeting at the same location, so we can physically see each other. But also, when we do sit in meditation and we have our senses strengthened, and we're in practice to notice I think it's at this time that we notice, oh, I just had a thought of my brother. I should call him. And then I call and he says, oh, I was just thinking of you, right? Or we start noticing these energetic pulses when you see somebody in your mind, and you think about somebody, they can actually feel you, because there's that energetic layer. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely that you can see me on the screen right now, but you can feel my essence as if we were sitting in conversation and at a shop in Thiru someplace. Like, I think that's what I'm hearing you say. And I mean, I know I have these meetings every week where I'm showing up with global community, and we're talking about heart rate variability. We measure heart rate variability with a biofeedback device, and we're using meditation in concert with this biofeedback device. This is what it looks like. Kind of clips onto the ear, and it goes to the computer or goes to a phone. But every day, each of us meditates with it, just 5 minutes and silence, and 5 minutes.
What is that?
It's a biofeedback device. So it's a heart rate variability monitor. But the thing that has created such curiosity with it for me is that, they talk about scientifically that our heart has an electromagnetic field. And when we are in the physical presence of another heart and our electromagnetic fields are overlapping, we amplify the other person's wellness, because we're with another human heart. There's that energetic is lifted up, we rise together as we come together. So right now, because we're not able to physically be in proximity with other people, just as a preventative global initiative, the thing that's become very, very clear and of curiosity personally is right now your heart is within that 6 foot diameter of my heart. It just happens that yours is in a digital screen, and vice versa. So for you, I'm within 6 feet of your being, except I'm digital. So now the question is, like, does our heart signatures still raise the energetic coherence within each of our bodies to create wellness by interacting together? It's a little bit of a tangent from your question, but the idea that we don't have to physically be next to each other to energetically connect with each other is feels so real. And I don't know if that comes through because of the time I've spent in India, or if it's just a human understanding that is felt the more we connect digitally, connect at a distance. And so because of that, I think that the perceived separation that we're experiencing right now is going to really amplify the evolution of human understanding that energetic connection is really strong and really real, and that we're not just this physical body. It goes beyond, very much beyond that. And you don't have to travel to India to find out. But you could if you connected on with an Indian man like yourself.
So, yeah, we will go to your chat. You spoke a lot within the spirit. So what was we spoken is like, I will read your chat and things like that, and but we never went to the chat. It's almost 1 hour. So let's go for the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sent me the chart on an email.
Can
Or
you open the same in Google Doc? I have shared you the
perfect.
Google Doc.
Okay.
Can you open that? Google Doc. There is a doc I have shared.
Yes, I see it. I found it. It's open.
Found it?
Yep.
So basically, based on the calculations of the astrology, your nakshatra is Purva Bhalguni. Okay, this is what is the nakshatra means? It's a group of stars. For instance, you imagine yourself you are staying in the middle of a 360-degree circle, and this 360-degree can be divided into 27 equal parts, and each parts there will be a group of stars. So one of them is Purva Bhalguni, that is your star, your nakshatra. Okay, and this circle again can be divided into 12 equal parts, and that is houses. It starts from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, like that it goes on. So that is houses, and the chart, the full chart you can see Purva Balcony, that with the graphics, I mean, is Ganapati's image on the middle of that particular chart. Ganapati is the god who is known as Vigneshwara. Vigneshwara means the god, he destroy all the Vignas. Vignas is something like whatever is stopping you from doing something. That is called Vigna. It's a Sanskrit translation of that word is whatever is stopping you to doing something is called Vigna. So the god who prevent the Vigna is known as Vigneshwara, and you could see Vigneshwara printed on the middle of that. And that particular time in that uh, uh, Rashi, what all are the planets are positioned, that is being printed on this particular diagram which has been shared with you. So this is known as Jataka or Kundali. So now let's come to your nakshatra, Purva Balguni. And there is something called Paksha. Paksha also is being marked. Paksha is like from 0 to 30, there is the moon will take 360 days to rotate around the, I mean, 24 to 30 days to rotate around the earth, almost a month. So when it reaches 15 days, that is called from 0 to, I mean, no moon to full moon. That is Shukla Paksha, and full moon to no moon is Krishna Paksha. So from that, there is two Pakshas, and your Paksha is like Krishna Paksha. And in Krishna Paksha, you have rooster as your bird. So that is your bird.
Okay.
So one thing is like based on the rooster as your bird, you when you look at on your childhood, uh, and ascendant is on staying on the seventh house, which means that if you look at on your childhood, you might be a very serious person.
Oh,
So this seriousness is because your nakshatra position, and that will eventually disappear. The way you see the importance you give, the importance you give to the things which you believe, which is very serious in nature, because this is something kind of an imprint in your subconscious mind, so basically when you grow up, these things will disappear and you can understand that, yeah, I'm not a serious person. This happens to you because your position of nakshatra, it has nothing to do with you, it's just to do with your body and mind. I mean, you are beyond that still.
Mhm.
And your plashu is a kind of a red, is a kind of tree which gives a red flower. You know, uh, that is your tree, which means that you can easily connect with this particular tree, and if you go near to that, you can talk to that particular tree, and your soul, the something which is beyond residing on you, can easily communicate with this particular tree, and you can easily, the spirit of this tree can actually understand you more better, and you can be with that tree much more easily, the connection, because there is the we are not different from the god, we ourselves is god, and whatever is we see is also god, and but everything has different frequencies, even our body has a different frequency, so this frequency will help you to easily get in touch with this particular tree. uh, so your nature is human nature. So what is happens with the human nature people? There are three kind of nature. One is asura, and another one is human, and another one is rakshasa. So there is three nature of the three qualities of the human beings are out there. From there, your nature is human. So the see, we have to go beyond. There is something like we feel ourselves more comfortable, something we believe is true is being getting satisfied. So human nature is a person who believe, my human nature, like helping others and making others comfortable and making others to feel better, is actually making me to feel better, making you to feel better, so this kind of nature, this is your nature, human nature. This is based on your nakshatra. And rajoguna is the guna which you have. So what happens is like, you this rajasic people usually has an intensity towards life. They like to see the life with more fire, and these peoples will mostly like to like masalas, like little flavors in food. Some food is little making some bit more masalic. I don't know what you say in masala, is the right word or what in English?
Maybe like more spice.
Yeah, yeah, sort of stuff. Masala is much better than spices.
Yes.
Spice is still like chili, pepper. No, it's masala is like a combination of so many things. It's a Sanskrit word. It is actual translation. I also thought like the translation of the masala can be like spices. No, masala is much better than that of spice actually. No, it's still beyond the meaning of the word. You know what I mean? So you might like this kind of food.
Yeah.
And you have a watery quality. You are a goddess. Uh, you can become uh, a goddess of creativity. That is because your Buddha, one of your Panjabhuta is water. gel. So you can actually flow your creativity to others, and you can be like, you can flow. You can condense yourself in somebody else in much deeper way, and the creativity can flow through you. And yeah, that is one of the quality. This is based on Panchabhuta, like ether, earth, soil. Like that, there are five Bhutas are there in Indian mythology. So your Bhuta is water, so you can easily flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you are the part of Shakti. The thing which you are wearing. There is a book called Soundarya Lahari. This is the book of Tantra that is been written by Shree Shankaracharya. There are 101 slokas are there which speaks about the divine feminine. Basically, Tantra is a way to appreciate the divine feminine, but it has some other aspects also, and people are taking only the little parts of the Tantra, and uh, because it is useful for humanity, so that people can make money out of it. If a product is good, you can sell it like that. Tantra has different parts, like Kama Sutra is the part of Tantra, and the feng shui, like Chinese, I mean the Japanese, this thing that in India it is known as Vastu, that is Tantra Samuchayam, that is the part of Tantra. And the sacred geometry, the sacred geometry, tree of life, and the those things are basically in Tantra. That is in India it is known as yantras. So Sri Yantra is the one of the toppest in that. So this is basically is a complete set of science which helps us to experience the divine feminine, basically coming out from the masculine and going beyond that and experiencing the actual power of goddess or the Shakti. That is what the Tantra is consist of. So in that, your goddesses is Shakti. So that is why Shakti connected we together in Thiru in front of Ramanashram. Maybe this is how she plays. She is so I don't know. She's like that. um, so there is a kriya is being given. Kriya is Kundalini yoga. So basically, Kundalini power which residing on the bottom of our Muladhara, down to Muladhara, can be awoken, and this can be used to uh, uh, make the life more, quality life. It can help us to create more quality life. As the Kundalini is getting awoken, the more and more dimensions will start to open up, and you can experience life is more deeply and very very profounded manner. So that is how the Kundalini yoga help us to achieve that. So for your this thing, it is Kriya for the Purva Falguni is given, and Nakshatra yoga is been given. There is other video you can see in that particular link of the document which I have shared with you. You can see that particular link, and you can see how to do that. So these are the basic things of about your nakshatra. And there is something called rat yoni. Um, this is rat yoni is a sexual posture of you which give you more intimacy based on this. That is rat yoni, and sexual posture also is being given in this particular link which I have shared with you. So you have any question about your nakshatra? Any clarification you have?
Well, I mean, it feels like that's like a whole depth of study. There's so many different words on this document that are new to me. So just receiving what you're saying and the bigger essence I'm understanding. However, a lot of these like details in the document I'm open to learning more about. That's all.
So this is basically about your nakshatra. Then the same thing goes in your chart also. There are different planets are staying in your chart. That is in Tanu. Tanu position. Tanu is your self position. Self position is like the time of the birth where your ascendant is staying. So that is like ascendant Saturn and Jupiter is staying together on the seventh house, which means that in the Bhavam house it is first house. So one of the important thing which gives to your mind is that you will consider yourself as a hardworking person. There is nothing called, as far as of my own understanding, there is nothing called hard work or soft work or whatever. We are just doing whatever we have to do. Whether it is, the problem start when we start comparing. Okay, I am doing very hard work and I am. So the Saturn is staying on the first house. So because of that, you will feel like doing very hard work. I mean, you consider yourself as a hard worker and you don't want to give up. Basically, it doesn't matter if you see it in a very top view. It doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
And in Dhana Bhava, there is Mars is staying, and in third Bhava, there is Ketu is staying. In third Bhava, Ketu is staying. This is very important thing. Sahaja. This is like Ketu is very much related to occult energy. So this deepen understanding or getting hypnotized or getting a kind of trance is your nature. You know, that is something you have born with, and yeah, that is something you don't have to be afraid of, that you are getting a kind of trance or something like that, because life like to open that up to you. It want to give that to you. And in seventh house, one, two, three, seventh house, there is no planet. So, which means that your relationship status may not be that good, you know. I can't see a planet over there. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm single, so.
If you want, we can edit something, but yes, it's okay. I mean, it's a podcast. Okay, anyway, eighth house there is Mars is staying, and ninth house there is Ketu. So, ninth house Dharma. So Rahu and Ketu is staying on the Sahaja and Dharma house. The spiritual aspect is very strong, and this is like it's a kind of opening for you. You could listen to that more deeply and understand the more aspect of that, and yeah, that could help you to take more deeply.
Mhm.
You have any question?
I mean, so, you just briefly said that, like, I don't have, I won't have good relationships. Are you saying like forever or like up until now?
And I would like to pick a card for you.
Okay.
I have cards.
Yes, your cards are beautiful.
So this is like my goddess,
Okay.
but this is basically from the Crowley deck actually I use. Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
So this is basically Crowley tarot. This is what I use, and I feel like Crowley is one of the best tantric who born out there. And if he was in India, I feel like he could be a good tantric guru probably, but he was in West, and because of the church can't understand what he was talking about. Uh, the church has killed him, like all other women also is been other women also got killed. In India, they are Dakinis and yoginis.
Mm-hmm.
So in ideology, the Semitic religions can't understand what is going on with these kind of people because there is something it looks like taboo for most of the people. So anyway, I'll pick a card for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I showed you these cards in Tiru?
Yes.
And you escaped without giving me my donation.
Oh, I know.
No, I'm just kidding. It's okay.
In Tiru, they don't give us the same connection to. I wasn't able to access the same things.
Same thing. So what?
It feels like not every website is accessible in every country. Something I noticed. Like,
Something called a Tor. There is something called a Tor, freedom of speech. Tor is like the onion router. There are VPNs.
okay.
That's why I like tech also. Anyway, so I have picked 4 cards for you. There is something called truce, wax, the hierophant, and the pressure. These are the 4 cards which just came out. There is a triangle, and you feel pleasure could be possible by connecting the Trinity or something. There is something, 3 things which is like it's like a triangle, something is surrounding you. So you want to connect this to get something out of that. So that is where you are right now seeking a kind of a relationship. Ask me something.
What's that?
You want to ask me something? Or maybe if you want, we could. I mean, I can stop.
What's that?
You want to ask me something?
Um, I mean, it is it is curious for me being single and being like 37. I'm at the end, like edge of this like fertility range, and yeah, I'm curious if I'm meant to like bring life into this into this onto this earth. And it's interesting like to be thinking about that even though I don't have a partner, but it's something that that I'm curious about.
So basically, the fifth house is actually showing the putra, I mean the offsprings. But in that particular position, there are no planet. But doesn't it that see why we look at on the chart is basically to figure out what is that missing, how we can fill it, you know. So there are ways to overcome. This is called the tantram. I mean the tantra. So we have to get what we want, you know.
Mm.
So this took some. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask?
I mean, I guess it goes from like podcast questions to like diving into like the chart deeper. So maybe I would ask, like, could we do like oh, hi dog, my dog has come to say hello. Uh, another time where we sit and like go,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Thank you for listening to my podcast. You could connect with me in arunsyoga.in, where you could see my contact details, including my phone number, my WhatsApp, and email ID. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes.